Hey guys, this is Megan from You Go to Be Kidding, and this week we are going to be talking about our goat mineral system. It's been just barely over 1 year since we started using it, and I needed to reorder some minerals, so I wanted to touch base. I last talked about our mineral system during the winter. We had not yet kidded, and I probably mentioned it in some of my kidding videos, but I wanted to give a proper update, a 1-year review, whether we're going to continue using it and what the update is. And I just wanted to enjoy this beautiful scenery behind me. It is actually not our property. I'm standing at our fence, and it's getting developed. I don't know if you can hear the construction noise, but there is a house going up, and as far as we can tell, there's going to be lots of houses going up here. So enjoy the beautiful rolling hills behind me while we can. I'll take every day we get with the beautiful view. So anyway, I'm gonna head down to probably over to the goats and hang out with the goats as we chat, and I want to talk to you about the minerals and how it's been going. I've showed off our IBC tote in other videos, and I will be sure to link them so you can see how this is set up, but this is all the minerals. They used to be labeled. You can see that pulled off because although tape on the inside, you can see a few pieces left, does work to keep the mamas from getting in there. The kids, they would get inside the crate and they messed with all the tape in there. So I did make myself a map. Make sure you write down or take video of what minerals you put in which cups. I would have been in some big trouble, or just had to wait till they were actually empty to figure out which one was which. But anyway, yes, so this is our system, and I want to go hang out with the goats as we chat about how it's been going. Right now the goats are down in this pasture. They are below our playground and our garden, and our house is over there as well. And they're hanging out. There is some shade under these trees, so I'm probably going to go walk over by the shade. How are you ladies doing? Hello, Miss Cedar. Good to see you. There's everybody else. You guys are so friendly. Come on. Hey guys. Look at you guys. This is Juniper. This is Cypress. Maple's baby this year. Clover, is she gonna let me pet her? She's the youngest. Hello, Miss Maple. That's Mama. So Miss Juniper here doesn't always let us pet her. She's getting used to us all, but she's doing great. Everybody else is literally under my legs. That's Clover, and Iris, and Tansy. This is Tansy's yearling marigold. Oh yes, I forgot to tape Maple's teats. So little Miss Juniper is still getting some milk. I have been taping Maple's teats each day, but I will have to, actually probably when I'm done filming here, I will go take her and get her snack and get her taped up. She is the only baby we kept from this year. She is super cute. But look at everybody. They're looking good. Eclipse is kind of the spotted one here, and her mama is Wisty, the all-white one from last year. So it's the same crew. The only one that is new is Miss Juniper, and she looks a whole lot like Cypress, which was Maple's daughter that we had from last year. But we found her a new home. And yeah, all these ladies are getting ready. All right, I'm gonna go hide in the shade. Hello, Tansy. Tansy's rubbing on my knee. That's my knee. Yes, it is. I love that they all follow me. They all came up to me over there, and I walked over in the shade, and now they're all coming in the shade to meet me. Hello, everybody. Goats get such a bad rap. I really enjoy them. They have such sweet personalities, and maybe it's the mini La Mancha breed, but there's only a few that are irritating. Trust me, we can definitely get frustrated. Miss Wisteria here is famous for being pushy and jumping the line when it's not her turn. And Miss Tansy, she will always, always, always test the gate or the door to see if it's open. But once we learned that she is always going to test it, then we realized it was our fault for being frustrated at her. If we were too lazy to close the gate, we couldn't get mad at her for opening it. So yes, and Miss Eater, you are so friendly to us, but you are boss lady for all the other goats. So I figured it was perfect timing to make this video. We originally set up our mineral system in June of 2024, and it is now July of 2025. So we are just past the 1 year timeline, and I wanted to update. We have made it through a winter, we have made it through a kidding season, and we are well into summer and milk production and just about getting back to breeding season again. So I wanted to give an update. We have only had to order one more time. I actually ordered today, right before I made the video. The last time I ordered was right when I made my last video, so I'll be sure to link that. It was still during winter. It was back in January. That was the last reorder I had done. It was quite a big reorder, and those minerals worked great for us. So I just reordered some today. It was only 3 different ones that I needed this time: boron, the 4 vitamin mix, and the C and B mix. And I did order a large quantity of the 4 vitamin mix. I ordered 25 pounds. That might have been overkill. It's not like it's gonna go bad as long as I keep it dry and cool and stuff. So the order this time did cost me $289, but again, that 25 pounds probably was overkill. At the same time, they've been going through it a lot, so I would rather store a little bit extra than have to reorder all the time. I've mentioned it before in past videos, but I will mention it again. We are ordering our minerals from Little Avalon Farm. They package the minerals in smaller sizes. I believe there is a company that you can order them all in 25-pound increments, but that's not something we're ready for yet. So this is what we've got so far. All right, so time for my official thoughts on using a mineral system for 1 full year, and I can say positively that this is the healthiest spring we have ever had with our goats. This is the 5th year we've had goats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my goodness, the goat is licking my leg. Hi. I don't need to be licked. No, thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. So this is our 5th year raising goats and 5th spring, and each spring has been rough. Just managing parasite load, the wet ground, getting out on fresh grass, getting out after kidding. It's high stress on their bodies after kidding season. They have so many nutritional needs, and then you're trying to get them out on your fresh pastures, but with the moisture of a wet Tennessee spring, it leads to parasite issues every year. And this year has been the wettest spring in Middle Tennessee since 2010, and almost beat that one as well. So in 15 years, we haven't even lived here that long. This is the wettest spring it's ever been. And I have the most goats I've ever had, and we had the best spring we've ever had. And I think there's a couple of factors. I don't want to say that's all the mineral system, but I do believe it has played a huge role in how well our mamas handled their pregnancies, how well they kidded out and recovered from those pregnancies. All of our kids this year are the healthiest batch we ever had. We have not struggled with goat kids, so I'm thankful for that. We struggled with some lamb losses, but not the goat kids. But I noticed a difference in how fast the kids stood up, how quickly they were able to nurse off their mamas. There were lots of things that I noticed, and how few of them have had any issues with diarrhea or anything. It's usually coccidia when they're young. We have not noticed that with any of our younglings, and the mamas themselves. They have not really had any diarrhea, here and there, like once, but nothing bad. Sometimes in past seasons, they've gotten it for days, and we're struggling to use our herbal wormers to get them, kind of back solid and not struggling. But this year, we've had the mineral system. And so let me be clear about what we've done this year. So the mineral system they've had since June of last year. So their entire pregnancies and entire spring, they've had that available to them. We did use chaff hay last winter as a hay supplement, and I think that has a lot of nutrition in it, and it was a perfect complement to our mineral system. And this spring, as it's been super wet, it actually was a happy accident. We rotate our goats around in pastures. We use these white electric nets, and we have some temporary shelters. There we go. We use calf hut, and then we've built some as well. There you go. You can see it there. We use those to move our goats around, and it works excellent. But if you aren't familiar with goats, they think that they are melting if they get wet. And so with the rain, our shelters are not big enough to hold all of these goats. So I don't even know what we're up to in here. 10, 11, and with the boys it was more than that. And so the shelters weren't big enough for everybody, and so we were letting the mamas come back into the barn. We'd bring all the goats into the barn, let them, A, they would have access to minerals while they were there, but B, they stayed off the wet ground, and we would put them back out when it dried up some. And I think that those things together made a huge difference, keeping them off of the wet, moist ground first thing in the morning, or especially just during, several days of rain, and letting, even with hay, which may have been lesser nutrition, I think it made a difference. So those are the big differences this year that we did. We usually just leave them out in the field because it is a pain to have to bring them down to the barn and back up all the time. But we didn't want to leave them out in the rain without enough shelter. So it kind of was a happy accident this year, and something that we are going to be intentional about doing in the future years, about making sure that they're not on the ground when it's super wet. One logistic thing I wanted to mention is we are using that IBC tote, and the top of that would not be waterproof, the sides would not be waterproof. So we don't move it around in our field, it is full-time in our barn. So the 5 main milking mamas do get access to it every morning. The kids come get the goats, bring them to the barn, and then I milk, and they have free access to that area while I'm milking, and then they come back up. But the yearlings here, there are 5 years, so technically there are 4 yearlings and 1 this year's baby. And then I also have a whole group of boys. They get brought in roughly once a week, probably not really that often, probably more like once every other week, and given time in the barn so that they can get minerals as well. Just last week we were moving. Goodness, the goats are seriously licking my legs. Apparently I'm salty. I don't know. That is something interesting. Maybe I should make sure these yearlings get down in the barn tonight. But yeah, just recently we had the boys moving pastures, and so we let them spend a night in the barn to make sure they got the minerals that they need. And it seems like it might be time to let these little ones in the barn as well. And so it is something just to kind of have on a calendar, make sure that you're paying attention to. But the mamas have the largest needs on their systems. Nobody else is pregnant, nobody else is milking, and so the yearlings not getting in there all the time, they're all right, they're gonna be fine, but I do have to manage that and make sure that I get them in and able to get the minerals that they need. So that is one thing to keep in mind. They do not have full access. So if you had your goats full access all the time, they might go through some of the minerals a little bit faster than mine are. But when I take the ones in there that have been, not in with the minerals, they do like chow them down. So they're all headbutting and fighting behind me. The little ones do go in and take a ton of the minerals, so it probably balances out. I don't always get out here to just watch the goats, but they are really fun. So the main question is, are we going to keep doing this? Has it been worth it? And I would say a resounding yes. To have the healthiest spring, like each spring, I get so discouraged, I seriously consider, should we get rid of all the goats? We shouldn't have them. It's really tough. And this spring has just not been like that. Managing everything, taking care of babies, getting kids sold, milking, all that, it can be overwhelming. But we're working on systems that help that be, better. And it's been good. But man, having such a good spring has been so encouraging and just so life-giving that hey, we are learning things and trying new things, and it's making a difference. And so I'm really encouraged. We will definitely be continuing our mineral system. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't. They're all playing around. Anyway, I would encourage you, if you are having weird issues in your herd, or not being able to, like, I don't know, any sort of issues really, it has definitely been beneficial, and it hasn't been trouble. It really hasn't been that expensive overall, considering that I am not doing any sort of other supplements like the copper boluses. I'm not having to buy the Redmond 90 selenium stuff, or all those selenium tubes, or any of the things, and worrying about kids. A few years ago we had to take a lamb to the vet. I'm not having to do any of that. So it does make a difference, and it kind of adds up in terms of prevention, is saving me money from having to go to the vet or losing a goat. I think I might have started to repeat myself at this point, but overall, yes, we are absolutely going to continue our mineral system, and I really would recommend it to others. I think it has helped our herd a ton, especially living in such a hot, humid, parasite-ridden region, and so it has been working great for us. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to know about the mineral system or how we're using it, I would be happy to answer below, and we appreciate you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.